Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this live webinar. And today's subject is about understanding the causes and natural treatments for mental and emotional instability, according to Ayurveda, from the Ayurvedic perspective. So, I'll explain things first from the Ayurvedic perspective. And then we'll talk about the causes, because we should always identify the causes. And then we'll talk about treatments and then herbal treatments. So we're talking about the mind. The mind is called, in Ayurveda, Mano Vahasotra, the mind system. They classify the mind just like they would circulatory system, respiratory system, all the different systems in our body. The mind is one system. They don't have a disconnect between the mind system and other systems in the body. So it's one of the systems. Of course, the mind system is supported by the nervous system. So if the nervous system is, is stimulated, then the mind will be stimulated. So there's a connection between the nerve system and the mind system. So these are the two bodily systems that we're talking about. And like I said, in Ayurveda, Mano Vahasotra, the mind system, and Meja Vahasotra, the nerve system. And now every system can have different states. You can have a system that's clogged and blocked, like your circulatory system can be blocked, and you can have, cold hands and feet and poor circulation and varicose veins as a result. But now we're talking about the mind. If the mind is blocked, then you have slow memory, poor memory, can't remember. But what we're talking about here is when the mind or the system is overly active. In Ayurveda's Alti Pravaruti means overly active system. So we're talking about an overly active system of the mind. That's the way the Ayurveda would see this. And then what's the energy or behind this overly active system of the mind is, in this case, we're talking about Vata. Vata is air energy, light, cold, dry, mobile, active, rough. So these are the qualities of the Vata. So we could say Vata is helping with all communication, all movement, all neurological functions, all communication between all the nerves, all physical and mental activity. And in this case, it's stimulating the mind and the nerves to be overactive. Like example, thinking too much, can't stop thinking, tired, exhausted in bed, but still thinking. Yep. So this is what the type of person that we're talking about is, a person in this state. There could be many types of mental states that a person could have. We can be depressive, we can be irritable, we can fluctuate. But in this particular case, we're talking about an overly active, unstable state of mind. That's the type of person. So this type of person is going to be little spacey, little forgetful, going to be lightheaded, thinking a lot, worried a lot, anxious a lot, having poor sleep, maybe even panic attacks. And so, and we would also say in Ayurvedic terms that it's a rajasic state. It's not a sattvic state of mind. The sattvic is the state of peace. So for this mind to balance out this state of mind, we can, of course, this can manifest in many types of, mental states. We could call ADHD, attention deficit, unable to focus, scattered mind. We could call mental instabilities like schizophrenia, bipolar. All are in this category in Ayurveda. Now, because Ayurveda is very individualized treatment, it would mean that each person in this state of this overly active, overly stimulated mind, and probably nerves as well, that you still would customize all the treatments. There's no one treatment for everybody, particularly when it comes to a mental state. It takes some finesse, some balancing. Everybody's a little different. Some people could have other qualities, but we're talking about this state of mind where the person is unstable. That's the key. Ungrounded, erratic, mentally and emotionally. And so, what are the causes? We first have to identify the causes. Well, what increases Vata? If you are familiar with Ayurveda, the qualities of dry, light, cold, active, rough. So in Ayurveda, we want to balance these out. If you are, we'll take light. If you're light, you're like spacey. Oh, where's my keys? Where'd it go? Oh, I forgot. I don't know, right? That's a light-headed person. So we need this person to be grounded out. So one of the causes is excess lightness in the person. Why? Because what creates too much light? Lack of weight. Being underweight is a cause of this state. They're depleted, nutritionally depleted, underweight, often not eating enough. Sometimes we can find a person who's thin, underweight, and just having salads, missing meals, trying to stay more thin, more, get more Instagram likes, and they're not concerned about healthy weight. They're concerned about being very thin. This is a typical type of person in this, with this state of mind, because they are too light. How do we balance this? Stop eating light foods like salads and missing meals, and start having heavier foods, more grounding foods, weight building foods. We often see people who are doing no grains, or even worse, no carbs, and they're wondering why they're spacey and light and depleted, because they're depriving themselves of these grains, which are, we know, have B vitamins and are calming foods. So this type of person needs to be having grains, needs to be having regular meals, 3, maybe even 4 meals a day. They shouldn't be too light, not salads. They should be sweet potato, butter. This type of person needs dairy. We're not talking about somebody with respiratory congestion. We're talking about somebody who's light, spacey, ungrounded. They need to eat. No skipping meals. And the food should be grounding. In fact, this person should not be avoid dairy. This person, more than likely, if they're thin, light, spacey, underweight, nervous, anxious, and overthinking, they should put on weight. And this is going to take, they can't just have beans or salad. That's weight loss. They need to have meat, animal protein, butter, sweet potatoes, things, oatmeal in the morning to feel grounded on the earth. So that's the first quality you must look for to treat. We don't just like, oh, here's the herb, your problem's gone, because that person is physically unstable because of their low weight. They are too light. The second quality we want to balance is cold. When you're cold, you're shivering, you're shaking. Your nerves don't like to be cold. We like when we're warm, the nerves are more comfortable. So this person has cold and can contribute to poor circulation. Then not enough blood's going up to the head. The circulation is poor because the coldness. We may see varicose veins, spider veins, cold hands and feet, light dizziness. They feel faint. See, they're not getting enough oxygen up to the brain because of poor circulation, and often due to the quality of coldness. So if this person is cold, and we want to give them nothing cold, no cold drinks, no cold water, no cold smoothies. Everything should be warm foods, cooked foods, soft foods, ginger, cinnamon. And so get the circulation moving, get the oxygen and the nutrients to every part of the body, particularly the brain. So if a person's cold with poor circulation, it needs to be addressed. If the person's light, they need to be putting on weight. The other thing is Vata quality is too active. It's moving too much, too thinking. And then they're lying in bed and they're just thinking. Oh, what about the future? What about the past? What about this? What about that? And then they don't sleep. So we have to reduce the activity of the mind, reduce the stimulation of the nervous system, which is affecting the mind. How do we do that? First, we need to remove these causes. Caffeine, usually number one. Many people say, but I'm only having 1 cup. But they're not sleeping, they have anxious, their heart's racing, their mind's racing, and they're just having 1 cup a day. Well, no, this person, everything needs to slow down. Things need to move slower. This person shouldn't be doing fast activities, shouldn't be listening to fast, stimulating music. They need to be listening to ambient music, slowing down their whole environment, not even working as fast, and no coffee, no sugar, nothing with white sugar, cookies, candy. You know, children, they take sugar and they just get this little rush and then they crash. What does this create? Instability. What are we talking about today? Stability, achieving mental stability. We said it, you know, that we're treating, you know, mental and emotional instability, but we have to think, what's the goal? The goal is stability, and that has to be physical and mental. So the body has to be stable. The heart, the circulation has to be stable. So we don't, and not overactive. So we don't want any chocolate, any sugar, no caffeine, not even 1 cup a day. It's still in your blood, still stimulating you. This type of person actually needs more like relaxing tea and calming nervines to help them to slow down and slow the pace down. Maybe they don't work as much, maybe they don't get as much work done, but we need to slow this person down. So that's the other quality that we need to reduce. And also, we want to reduce dryness. If the person is dry, they have dry skin, you know, a dry mouth, dry stools, then dryness is very aggravating. If you have dry skin, you can itching. You know, if you have dry stools, you can get constipated. Hemorrhoids can be painful. If you have a dry mouth, you don't have saliva and you cannot digest good. So, you know, dryness is harming, you know, every organ and system in the body to function properly, and can also affect, you know, your mind and your ability. So this person needs to overcome this dryness. Usually it means with more oil, more fat in the diet. A low-fat diet can deplete a person of fat. A person with very little fat, say you look at the back of their hand, see how thick the skin is. If it's paper thin, not enough fat. If you have ribs sticking out, not enough fat. A lot of bones sticking out in the hand, not enough fat in the body. So, and then the nerves, the nerve sheath, the cell membranes, they all lacking this fat. So then the nervous system becomes overly sensitive, because the nerves are getting their input from what? The senses. So this type of person often can become oversensitive, hypersensitive, because their nervous system is fried. Often they're having coffee, skipping meals, you know, underweight, hyperactive, you know, not eating enough. And you can see this is the type of person that we're talking about. If you're not in that category, there could be other reasons for your mental state. But we're particularly talking today about this particular type of individual who physically and mentally is unstable due to these qualities of being light, cold, dry, and overly stimulated and overly active. So the diet must change, and the nerves must be addressed. We must always address the person's nervous system here. We must address anxiety. We must address sleep. We must help the person to sleep by giving them sleeping herbs and helping them to have a regular routine. That's a very important point here, is routine and schedule. You know, like babies and children, if they don't have a routine, they become nervous. They become anxious. They'll cry without a routine. And a person who's unstable, erratic, needs a routine. They need to get up at the same time. They need to eat at the same time. They need to sleep at the same time. They need a routine, because this balances the scatteredness, the irregularity Vata. Remember, Vata means air. So this person's a airhead, unstable, too much air. And that's why in Ayurvedic terms, we're increasing Pitta, which is heat and warmth, and Kapha, which is dense, slow, heavy, slimy. So that means we have cheese, animal protein, 3-4 meals a day to ground them out. A lot of times this person, when they put on 10 pounds, a lot of their mental instability goes away just by putting on the 10 pounds and getting rid of the dryness, the coldness, and taking out the stimulants. So these are always the first area we should address in treating ourselves or anybody else, is to identify, in Ayurvedic terms, the doshika balance. And here we're talking about Vata. And then looking at the gunas or qualities, in this case, light, cold, dry, active. And you don't have to have all of these in balance. You still could maybe be warm, but light and dry and active. But the body's not cold. So you don't worry about that quality or guna. But for sure, there's going to be an overstimulation, an overactive mind, over racing heart, overthinking, sensitive nervous system that's at play here. So we identify these qualities that are increasing the Vata, and we balance them with the food and the lifestyle, the Ahara Chikitsa and Dinacharya. Food as medicine and lifestyle as medicine, to create a routine and a Vata balancing diet. I hope you got that. And then if the person can do these things, they're half done. And then the herbs will help, like a tool, like a friend that helps them to be grounded and stable quicker. And over time, if they get the routine, follow the Vata balancing diet, then they will need the herbs less and less and less. So let's talk about some herbs that can be taken. In fact, we have one formula right here. In Ayurveda, it's called Dasha Mula. Dasha means 10 roots. And we call it grounding tea because it's made from roots. And that's right. When it supports the nervous system, balances Vata, reduces inflammation, and also very hydrating. And it's made from 10 different roots. 10 roots from a bush, 10 roots from a tree. And it's very grounding, very nutritious. It's almost like a nutritional substance. And we have it just for the person who is lightheaded, stable, very effective. And this Dasha Mula can also be given as an enema in the rectum, and it should be mixed with some oils. Dasha Mula enema with sesame oil is very effective. Another very important herb for the mind, maybe the most important herb, is Brahmi. Brahmi is a premier herb for the mind. Now, if the person's very dry, then we give them Brahmi ghee. See, it's Brahmi in ghee. We call it memory ghee, but this improves memory, so strengthens the adrenals, and it's very effective in like ADHD, where the mind is unstable. Like you have a child or a person who's not able to focus. 1 teaspoon of Brahmi ghee each morning stabilizes the mind. It's not really calming per se, but it's stabilizing the mind. So Brahmi is perfect. And if the person is very dry and weak and underweight, then this can be taken in ghee form. But we also have it in tea. We call it brain tea, overall improving cognition. Ginkgo, good for circulation. There's Brahmi. Kotakola, also good for circulation, mind, memory. Sage, lemon balm, rosemary, and ginger are, supporting the circulation and catalyst to make the herbs work. So generally, this type of person, I'll pick one of these two, either in ghee form or in tea form, because this Brahmi is so important for the treatment of any condition in the mind. Now, if the person is fatigued and tired and burned out or adrenal fatigue because they've been overworking and drinking coffee and under eating for a long time, and now they cannot function without some stimulant, then we have to address their adrenals. If their digestion is good and they're a little heavy and sluggish, not too underweight, then we give them the tea, adrenal tea. This helps with stress, gives them energy, supports the adrenal, and the magical herb ashwagandha in a little elethra, which is a type of Siberian ginseng, licorice, cinnamon, and cardamom. And cinnamon and cardamom for the flavor, for the circulation, for the digestion of the tea. The two key herbs are ashwagandha and elethro, supported by licorice. And these support the adrenal glands and give you some energy, because all three of these herbs are adaptogens. Ashwagandha, the premier adaptogen in Indian herbalism, and ginseng, the premier herb in adaptogen in Chinese, all put together, supported by licorice. And so adaptogen helps you with stress, but it gives you energy at the same time. So you could drink this adrenal tea all day, feel energetic, and still sleep like a baby, and your heart's not going to race, and your mind's not going to be overly stimulated. Now, if the person is depleted and underweight, we would probably want something even more gentle than that, and we'd give them the tonic. The tonic, it's also good for anxiety, non-stimulating energy, supports adrenal health. But here we have some other herbs, ashwagandha, vidarikan, which is a type of sweet potato, basically. Bala, also a nourishing food, bala means strength. There's the Brahmi again for the mind, tulsi, and then cinnamon, cumin, and ginger are to help you digest it, because these are kind of heavy herbs. So this is a very nurturing, building, strengthening, and calming herb formula, all in one shot. Very nice. Now, if the person has anxiety issues, then we would give a calming formula. Also, we're going to see Brahmi in here. There's ashwagandha again, the adaptogen. Jyotismati and shankhpushpi are nervines. And Brahmi, of course, the premier herb for the mind. And tagar is Indian valerian. It's a mild sedative. And we only put a little bit in this formula. Takes the edge off you and really helps with nervousness, anxiety, and panic attacks. Very effective. So that's why each person, you still have to match up the right formula depending on them. Now, if there's big mood swings, like you're moving from depression to anxiety, or anxiety to irritability, and irritability back to, then we have a unstable. So we have a formula for that. This formula is for everything. And that's called mood balancer. And here we have three herbs. There's the Brahmi again, the premier herb, which, helps with cognitive function, nerves, brain function, memory, and Jyotismati, which is a kind of an uplifting nerve, a nervine, and shankhpushpi, relaxing nervine. So this is good for both depression in particular, because it's uplifting because of the Jyotismati. So, but it's relaxing at the same time. So if a person is moving from sad to happy, then we would give this formula out. Now, if the person is, like their memory is poor and they feel dull and they need a little bit more like almost stimulation, then we would give them brain and memory. Now, this is for more of a heavy person who's forgetful, forgetting things. And this is a famous Indian formula, thousands of years old, called Saraswati Churna. Wonderful for memory. I take a little bit every day, makes me sharper and clearer. Little stimulating. So it's for the person who's maybe a little on the sad or lethargic side, but maybe, it could help. And sometimes we mix that with other formulas that are calming. And we have it called Calm and Clear. Now, and these herbs are all just made from plants, leaves, bark, stems, roots. So they're very safe. People can take them for long periods of time. Many, myself included, have taken herbs every day for more than 30 years. And many of my clients have taken them every day for 20 years. And I've met many people in India who have been taking herbs, 60, 70 years their entire life. So, herbs are like food, but not tasty. They're good. In these cases, we could call many of these herbs are food for the nerves, food for the mind, feeding the nerves. Like, a baby's crying, he's crying, and he needs to be fed. You fed him, he's quiet. So if the nerves are frazzled and edgy, then you give him these herbs, and it's like food for the nerves. So they're very helpful. And all of these, since they're made from plants, roots, bark, stems, they actually all have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them as well. So you not only you're taking vitamins and minerals with every type of herb that you take. So here's another relaxing one that I give people, just relaxing and calming, very popular. Lemon balm, skullcap, catnip, motherwort, lavender, oat straw. Oats is good for settling the nerves. Of course, skullcat and catnip are quite effective nervines. Passion flower is very good for the mood, and a rose petals just makes it smell nice. And cinnamon and rosemary are like catalysts, making it all work, making it a little warmer, and making the herbs all work good together. So, different people. Some people will do very well on that. Other people, they need a little bit more stimulation. They feel too fatigued, so they'll do better with the adrenal tea, even though they're all relaxing. And some people who are, just need more mental clarity and don't want to feel sleepy from the relaxing tea or stimulated from the adrenal tea, then we give them the brain tea. And we can make combinations, an herbalist, you can combine herbs together. In fact, some of these herbs are in oils. We also, if the person's very dry, then we encourage oil massage. And this is a nice oil here, Vata oil, sesame, olive. There's the ashwagandha again, Bala, Saraswati, passion flower, another nervine, Bringraj, which is good for sleeping if you put it on your feet, licorice, and a little tulsi and valerium. So it's a very relaxing, warming oil, and you can put it on your feet to help you sleep. You can put it around your head for headaches. And if you massage your whole body in it, it treats your entire nervous system by these herbs being absorbed through the skin in the oil, the warm oil and the warm massage, and it goes in and it's wonderful. You can take a person by giving them this type of abhyanga or warm oil massage using this type of oil with herbs in it. They could be very unbalanced, having real mental instability. And you massage them every day in warm oil massage and give them these herbs, and they can change just in one day. The wholly transformed. And once a person gets control of their mental state again by the help and support of the herbs, then it's easier for them to get a grip on their lives and focus. We often get in unhealthy cycles, like not sleeping. We don't sleep, and then we're tired in the day. We take naps, we take stimulants, and then the stimulant and the napping prevents us to sleep at night. Then we don't sleep at night, and then the whole cycle just keeps going. So if we can break this cycle of not sleeping, and they sleep good and they feel refreshed, we've made a lot of progress. Because if you don't sleep good, even if it's just getting up to urinate every night, or noisy dog, or a dog waking you up, then you're never having a stable day because you didn't have stable sleep. So you have to have stable sleep to have a stable day. So we will often focus on sleeping teas, and it's easy to put someone to sleep, with sleeping herbs. It may take them a few weeks of taking the herbs and getting off of their caffeine and stimulants. But, this has hops, which they made beer from, poppy seeds, which is, related to opium. It's opiumate, we should say, poppy seed, California poppy. And then chamomile, catnip. These are sedatives and nervines, little lavender and passion flower. So you start drinking this after dinner and you start to get sleepy. and each day you start putting the sleeping herbs in your body, slowly, slowly, the body slows down. Slowly, slowly, the mind starts racing. And then slowly, slowly, you start sleeping better, and um, and thinking less. And we have it in formula too. Formula, of course, is always stronger than a tea because you're digesting the herb directly. There's tagar, which is related to valerium. Jyotismati is kind of like a passion flower. And shankhpushpi, another nervine. Yeah, ashwagandha and Brahmi. It's just more tagar. And you know, the teas, they have to be made hot, but you don't have to drink them hot. That's one of your questions there. So you got to make it hot, but you don't have to necessarily drink a tea hot. And all these little powders, they just mixed with a little water and taken like a medicine. So we also have herbs that can be put in the nostrils. That's another good question there. Yeah, it depends. The relaxing tea, somebody's asking about how to take the relaxing tea. Some people just have 1 cup in the day and they're okay. Some people just take it when they're at work, when they're stressed out or driving a car on the highway. Other people are drinking it all day like water, 3 or 4 cups. Other people like myself, I just drink it at night to kind of wind down and sleep a little better. So, you know, herb is very safe. So you can drink it all day long, your relaxing tea. And this will slow your metabolism down, slow your thinking down, because thinking is part of the problem, overthinking. So we're trying to slow that down. Yeah, you can have the tea at room temperature. That's fine. You just have to make it with hot water because you have to do the infusion or decoction. So if it's a decoction, you got to boil the herb and cook it. If it's infusion, you just have to pour in the hot water, let it sit for 20 minutes. But you can drink it at room temperature later. You can, like for me, the sleeping tea, sometimes I'll make the sleeping tea around dinner time. And then let it sit. And then I set it in my bedroom, and by the time I go to the bed, it's already room temperature. And then there's my sleeping tea. Gulp it down, and then that makes me sleepy. Or even now, I have a tea. It's definitely not hot anymore. That's the brain tea I'm having, you know, keep the brain going. It's not hot anymore. It's just like water for me at this point, but it's helpful for my cognitive function, my circulation, my memory, and my mood. Also, we have some oils, particularly that are very effective. They're called nasa. That's where we put the oils in the nasal passages and reaches the brain. And this we call brain oil, but it's basically Brahmi oil. Usually there's 2 types, one in sesame oil and the other one in coconut oil. So if the person is more hot and has a red face and irritability, we use the coconut oil. But this one, very effective and very good for children. It's working very well for like even crying babies, sensitive people. Put a little in each nostril. Good to be lying down. Let that go in each nostril. And that goes, when you inhale it like that, right in your nasal passages, and affects this whole area of your head. Yeah, so, you know, this are many ways to treat the mind, but one way is through the nose, nasa. And the other way, like I said, is the oil, where you just put the calming and relaxing oil all over your head. So those are the different types of treatments that are available. And we know herbs help to change our mood. There's many herbs out there that we know about nowadays, like cannabis sativa, for example, and we know that changes your mood. I'm not advocating it. I'm not selling cannabis, but it is a good example to see that, you know, the mood can be changed quickly by an herb. So these tonics, these herbs can change your mood quickly. Now, you may need to keep drinking it to stay relaxed until you balance and remove the causes, which we covered. And a lot of times people are creating the causes themselves through their erratic life, their erratic schedule. their irregularity, eating at different times, skipping meals, sleeping at all different times, staying up late, not sleeping enough, or, you know, partying, techno, it's overstimulation. Yeah. So different, we want to remove these causes that are adversely affecting the mind. So it's very important to look at your environment. Your environment is, and what's affecting your senses. So if you want to, if you're easily agitated, for example, you need to sleep in a soft bed, and you need to wear soft clothes, not rough clothes. And you need to have gentle music, not rock music around you. You want to have ambient music. You want to have beautiful pictures around you, not ugly pictures or dark or demonic pictures. And colors, you don't want to have, you know, too stimulating of colors like reds and oranges. You want pastels and soft colors and gentle colors. And you, by changing your environment, you will change what your senses perceive in smell, sight, touch, and this will affect your nerves. Your nerves will feel more balanced, and this will affect your mind. So changing your environment is also very important. Changing your lifestyle, your habits, very important. Changing your diet to be more grounding and balancing, very important. All of these things together, plus the herbs, and you can manage most health conditions of the mind. So I hope that helped you, give you some hope to improve your mind. Somebody's asking about different scents or aromas that can be used. Well, you know, we have many essential oils. You can use lavender, chamomile, passion flower. These are all non-stimulating scents is what you want. You don't want bergamot. You don't want black pepper. You don't want stimulating strong scents. Roses, put roses in your room. For a man, he can use sandalwood, cooling, sweet scents. You can also put in your room. So yeah, roses, you know, you have to use your environment to influence you. If you're in a happy, positive environment with nice smells, beautiful pictures, you know, like my yard with a waterfall and ducks and birds, you know, and plants and fruit trees, you feel at peace. Nature is a great healer because nature has balance. If you go in nature, we are the ones that are imbalanced. So nature can be part of our treatment, getting away from the computers, getting away from the stimulation, getting away from the news, getting away from all the politics, and going into nature and finding peace or discovering a Sattvic state of mind. Okay, well, I hope that helped you into learning how you can manage an unstable mind according to Ayurveda by addressing your diet, your lifestyle, and using herbal medicine. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions or you or one of your loved ones requires treatment. This proper diagnosis of the condition is very critical, and then the customized, individualized treatments, both herbal, lifestyle, and diet, is often important. Thank you very much.